All right, so we are live, and this is the underground bunker. I am Brandon. I'm from Balisong Flipping, a pretty popular YouTube channel around Balisongs, and we have with us.
And behold a black wolf. Just call me wolf for short. No martial arts influence, weapon influence, outdoor influence. Love being outdoors, man. Everyone should start being outdoors. Love knives, all that good stuff. Animals, the works.
And we also have.
Florida
We
Man
also
Knives
have
here, and my channel is focused on balisongs and other knives of all sorts, but specifically folding knives. I'm a big Spyderco fanboy, but also agree with Behold the Black Wolf there that everyone should be outdoors, and love to be outdoors myself out here in Florida and fishing as much as possible and in the water as much as possible for sure.
Yeah, I definitely am a huge fan of the outdoors, although recently, with the world and the way it's been, we all are kind of indoors, but I definitely suggest everyone go outdoors at some point. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and subject switch over to our first subject, which is Balisong related, and it's the subject of clones and our opinions and thoughts on it, and the impact of it. So, Behold a Black Wolf, do you want to talk a little bit about clones?
yeah, man. Well, thing about clones is right. mm, It's just the way you treat them. You just have to treat them like how you would treat an authentic. That's how I treat my clones. I don't use them as beaters because I really don't really believe in beaters much unless it's like really beat to hell.
Right.
So once you have them nice and you tuned up, oiled up, and it'll be overall good to go. They just take a lot of time to get them to the way you want them to be, or the way you want to expect it to be, to its best potential. And it just takes a lot of patience and focus. It's very tiring, and it's like one of the most you tell people, like when they DM me and they ask questions about like tuning process and such, I always make sure to tell them when you tell me about a clone, because clones nowadays they're always coming with hardware, extra hardware, right? That's bushings, pivots, screws, washers. You have to test them out.
Right. So
Test every single.
a lot of people
Mhm.
there is a lot of bad about clones, and there's a lot of good, and a lot of people also want to talk bad about them, or good about them. So what is kind of your stance on them, and what do you think about them in the marketplace
See, they ain't bad. Just the good part about them being in the marketplace is that they're always available.
in
They're
comparison to the
always
production knives you're
available.
saying?
Yeah,
All
like
right.
anyone can see that. And that's a good thing, especially for beginners. The only downfall is the weight,
Yeah.
because you gotta
So
get them from overseas. But other than that, it's like, who cares? Just
yeah.
buy, forget, and just wait.
Yeah.
It's
So
gonna be there at your doorstep.
for me, I personally think that they're all right, but I also do kind of think that it is a little strange that the companies may steal the design, but I still am
Right,
for them. But so what do you think, Florida
right.
man? What is your opinion?
So, me personally, I don't have any experience with clones firsthand. Like you, I kind of feel a little bit weird about the designs being stolen, but at the same time, I'm not going to bash clones by any means because, I definitely think it provides a good opportunity for people to maybe try out or experience something or design that they might be interested in. And, maybe they don't want to invest the money into the actual production model at first. Another thing, as was previously mentioned, the full production models from the actual manufacturers are not necessarily going to be in stock all the time. So that definitely plays a role. So my general conclusion on it is, everyone should really not, and I really don't think anybody should care about others' opinions on clones, and they should really go get what they can and what they think they would enjoy flipping, whether that be a clone or the actual, original model itself. I definitely think they have a place in the marketplace, though, for sure.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and to get back with the steel and design part, yeah, I agree. Like these, they can make these clones good, right? Okay, cool. Steel and design, that's a bad thing. I really do agree with that.
yeah.
It's like they need to start making their own designs. They already have the foundation down pat. Just make your own designs.
Yeah, and that's totally true. There's someone in the clone market named The One, and they actually just came out with two original designs. And so
Mhm.
hopefully, even though they might have a history of stealing design, hopefully, they don't go back to stealing design and they go forward with trying to make their own. So
Right. Even if it could be just a slight alternation in like the blade shape.
right.
That can make a whole difference. The blade shape and what you call this piece that's close to the pivots.
The bushings or the hardware or
No, just like the shape of the blade, like the tang area for the shape of the
oh
blade.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely.
just switch that up a bit, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's your original design.
Yeah.
You should try doing that, man. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So now our next subject that we're going to be getting into is, and I want to start off with Florida Man knives because I never mentioned this to you yet. We were talking before we started this, but let's start with Florida Man knives. What's your thoughts on modifications and customization with knives in general? It doesn't even have to be Balisongs, but like coloring and material and anodization and stuff.
Well, obviously, happy you started with me on this one because I definitely am a fan of customization. And,
Yeah,
I think there's a big place for sure out there in the market where, a lot of knife manufacturers will add some sort of customization from the factory. I really think that's cool. You might be able to get some exclusives or limited editions of certain models that, might be a little bit different. But I think, there's just something about making a knife your own, whether it be a balisong or standard pocket knife, whether it's just the clip or screws or, fully anodizing the scales. I
right.
think that's really cool in general. And then I, think it, number one, supports a whole separate sub market, a lot of which is American made small businesses that are just knife guys that are trying to do cool things. And so it's really cool to support them as they create cool products. And then it's also cool to modify them yourself. Just gives a little bit more of a
Yeah.
sentimental factor to the knife. And I personally, I've heat anodized stainless steel knives before, and of course, swapped many pocket clips and screws. I haven't gone so far as to stone wash or acid etch anything myself, but maybe one day I definitely plan to dye some scales here soon as well. It's definitely, I think, is cool to do something like that. Like I said, to make it, the knife your own, add a little personal touch. But as I also said, it just supports the knife industry as a whole and makes the knife industry hopefully grow. You see that even with Balisongs. I mean, I don't have any experience with the Kershaw Lucha, Brandon. I know that you do, but Flytanium, I mean, their skills sell like crazy. I know for the Lucha, and it's just cool to see that modifying these knives and balisongs is a possibility because 10 years ago virtually it wasn't. So
Yeah, definitely. And Behold a Black Wolf. I know you definitely also really love this subject, so I'd like to hear what you think on modding and customization.
I love it, man. I've been doing that type of stuff since I've been carrying knives and watching stuff on YouTube with the anodization. Been trying that myself with the heat, anodizing it in bronze, which is my favorite metal. And when it comes to like the G10 grips, I love
Hmm.
adding personally the Rocky Mountain Trench. Love adding that to all of my G10 knives. I just love the whole fact of just doing this type of master knives because like you pouring your own soul into this tool, especially if you're gonna carry it every day and it's something to just look at. Like if you don't have nothing to look at, reach into your pocket and you just look at it, like, man, look what I've done, man. And you
Yeah,
could just use a simple tool like a Dremel, and a Dremel will give you all of that, most of those modifications with the G10 and the liners, and even the blade too, you know. And Like I personally I always carry a karambit with the wave feature on it. Either that's Emerson or Fox. Been carrying those for quite a long time. Every single Fox knives I bought, 599, the Dart, the XT, any one of those, every single one of those are modded to my favor.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
even when it comes to fixed blades, and even my bushcraft blades, like my heavy choppers, whatever the case is, my tomahawks, every single one of those tools are mods
Hmm.
to my own standard. Because if you've been watching me, I like ancient style looking weapons and
Right. Yeah.
historical based style looking weapons. I always try my hardest to implement that into my EDCs. Even if it's my wallet, my watch, bracelet, a coin, I will try to add some type of customization feature to it, man, just so it can match up with a theme. And that's a cool part too. Having themes, matching color themes, all done by your own hands, your own eyes.
Yeah,
Any
definitely.
color, any steel. Yeah, that is just beautiful to look at. Like
Right.
when you see them on IG, pocket
Yeah.
dumps and stuff like that. It's
I
beautiful to
agree.
look at, man. Love pocket dumps, man.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
try
That
to
EDC
just,
carrying.
yeah, just love it, man.
Yeah, it's
And I
super
try to
cool.
implement that. It's super cool. It's cool. It's a cool
Yeah.
thing in your pocket, and it's and it's something to talk about with friends who, even if they don't know anything about that, you can get them into something like that. If you just lay out your tools and you just show them blah blah blah, explain yourself, break it down,
Yeah,
and
for
then they
So
will
sure.
true.
get into
Yeah.
that.
There's
And
definitely
the
a
little
I've
personal
story.
gotten
touches.
multiple people into stuff like that just by
Yeah.
emptying out my pockets. Pocket dump, boom.
Yeah.
Co-workers, friends, new people. It's just an awesome concept, man.
Right.
And then it's even more awesome, like we've been saying, when you do it yourself.
Right. Yeah,
You know what I
definitely
mean?
for
But
sure. I
yeah.
completely agree with you. And when I started getting into knives and seeing all the different ones that were out there just in design, I was
Mm,
I was like blown away, and I saw so much potential in knives. And then
mhm,
when I started noticing the personalization and the customization and the different colors and processes and material and modifications, man, I was just like, wow, when I would look at something and see how much someone can do to it, or honestly, how much someone can actually change the way a knife could even work to make it actually better, by adding like some of these people are literally 3D printing scales for sandwich knives to make them channel, and it's like
yeah.
it really just just helps everything for the future and creation of products ongoing. But
I
And
yeah.
when it
agree.
comes to folding knives too, like guys starting to add a lot of spidey holes to their folding knives. They don't have any type of flipper, or at least just has like a flipper tab. A lot of guys milling out spidey holes onto their knives.
Yep.
And that's just a cool concept, man.
Yeah,
It's a cool
definitely.
concept to
I
make a
agree.
knife like an Ontario rat
Yeah,
look like
I
a
know what you're
spatula
talking
knife.
about. Yep.
Yeah, this is awesome. Make a cool steel knife look like a Spyderco. That is so, man. Look,
What I
all you
love,
need is the tools.
some of them are, sometimes you'll see such practical mods. Some will be so simple. Sometimes, it'll be just, to be blunt, not the best looking DIYs, but they're functional. I mean, I did that in the beginning. I would break a pocket clip, and I'm like, let's put a new pocket clip on here and make one, right? And it looks horrible, but it's functional. And then on the other
Mm,
spectrum, you got works of art where the scales are literally art pieces, that are anodized or
no,
whatever, and the blades, same thing. The details on the screws and pocket clips, or like
um,
you said, Brandon, too, that completely transforming a knife. A channel to a sandwich construction, swapping blades out entirely, or on regular pocket knives, like chopping the knife up to make it shorter and smaller in the
yeah.
pocket or whatever. I mean, it's really cool.
And Spyderco is number one for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Um,
I'm a
Spyderco,
fan
you
there.
can have your knives looking like fishes, sharks, dragons, snakes, lions. You can have your knife, Spyderco knife. You can have a knife looking like any animal you want, man.
yeah, and when I first got into knives, not everyone has the most money, so you start looking at cheap things first, and then when you start building a collection and getting into it, you start learning more about it. And to the naked eye of someone who's brand new, they might look at a color on a knife, and on Amazon, it'd be $20. and then when they see the real thing, it's so much. But when you actually start to understand the process of what goes into these knives, and like for anodization in general, there's so many
Right.
different ways you can do it. There's so many different processes to be added to it, like acid washing, and like even sprinkling the nail polish and stuff, just to see the process that goes behind a lot of these, I would call them projects, really, because some of them take days to
Yeah.
weeks. It's and it's all for one thing. I mean, these small tools, which change so many people's lives. It's so cool to have that kind of drive and passion behind something, but honestly, that helps build you as a character together. So, but I say that we get into another subject, which me and Behold a Black Wolf are very fond of, and Florida Man Knives is just starting to really get into, which is the act of flipping Balisongs. And so I'm gonna let you start it off, Behold a Black Wolf, with what do you think about flipping, and what do you see flipping in the future? What do you think it's going to be, or do you think it has a future? Go ahead.
Well, since I've been taking a peep at the Olympics, right?
Right.
And the Olympics this year kind of surprised me how many sports are now in the Olympics.
Right. Yeah.
Volleyball, now it's skateboarding,
Surfing.
Yeah.
surfing. Like, yo, what the hell? Where was I?
Right. Yeah,
I
I
won't be
know.
surprised if flipping is part of the Olympics in the next 3 years or so. I won't be surprised.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll be on YouTube, and I notice all of these new extreme sports that, come out of the
Yeah,
woodworks and are looked at by millions. And like for instance, I saw this one where like there's a sport where you drive a dirt bike up a hill as high as you can go before you fall. Like it's so
yeah.
crazy what
That's
people are.
I know
crazy
what you're
level.
talking
That's an
about.
Olympic sport. Like, what is this? That
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if Balisong flipping end up as one for me.
Yeah,
And yeah, I enjoy flipping, man. Good to build up hand and eye coordination. To me,
definitely.
it's like flipping a coin, but the edges of the coins are very sharp, and you're
Right.
just flipping it, trying to catch heads or tails
Yeah.
without over squeezing and cutting yourself. It's like a test of wits because and I'm talking about live blades now.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
you're gonna get caught.
Right.
You know the possibility you're gonna get caught, but you still on this daredevil trance and dance,
Right.
like trying to
You're
charm a snake with
building
your
that
fingers.
discipline. Yeah.
Right. You're charming a snake with your fingers, knowing it can strike any moment.
Right.
And when it does, it's like, well, for me personally, I'm not even angry, I'm not sad, I'm not surprised. I'm like, what's the word? It's like a rush of dopamine and makes me want to flip more.
Right. Yeah, and that actually reminds me of poi. Poi, the martial arts weapon. It basically teaches you, what you do wrong, which
Definitely.
is very similar. And Florida Man Knives, I know that you've got into flipping recently, but coming from your perspective, what do you think about it and the future of it?
Yeah, from my perspective, like you said, I've gotten into it recently, and I look back to when I was younger. I've always had this one live blade balisong that was actually my uncle's, and I flipped that around, and I think about when I was younger. Like I said, balisongs weren't accessible really. Especially good quality trainers at an affordable price. I mean, you can go to the flea market and get your really cheap ones, and that was about it as far as I knew. And like you guys have been saying, everything's just been growing, and I think a lot of that is due, of course, to the technology boom and things like YouTube, which is really fantastic that people are able to just get out there and express themselves. And I definitely see it just continuing to grow as it has, especially in the past year or two. It's been
Yep.
interesting. The state of the world, we'll put it that way, has definitely, I think, made a lot of people focus on what hobbies they enjoy as well, and what different things might be entertaining for them. And like you said, especially with the live blade, I mean, it's just, something that you focus on, hand-eye coordination, but at the same time, it's also the ultimate fidget device at the end of the day. And a lot of people like myself, I'm sure, just have always been fidgeting with things. and it's just a fun avenue, something fun to do, and it's really easy, I think, to get other people involved. And I definitely only see it growing, especially as social media continues to have the impact that it does.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When I first got into this, my history with hand-eye coordination related things does stem a lot from martial arts, just as well as Behold a Black Wolf. And when I saw this, I've already done lots of skill-based things with either tools, weapons, or toys. And when it comes to balisong flipping, this is just one of those really, really interesting and fun things that you can do without having to really go anywhere or prepare for anything. It's just there, and it becomes a part of you. It's just so much fun.
Right.
Yeah, I
Especially
agree.
when the
It's always
martial
in the
arts
hand.
concept with it. My fault. Especially with the martial arts concept with it. Because my first exposure to the Balisong was researching this Filipino style martial arts called Batangueño Balisong.
Right.
Barako Batangueño Balisong with the traditional style Balisong knives. But I didn't know anything about all the fancy flipping. All I knew is how to use it as how you would use a knife in combat.
Yeah.
And that was the only type of Balisongs that was available at the time, aka the fat ladies, what we normally call it nowadays, the fat ladies,
Yeah.
based off of the traditional styles.
Yeah.
But that was my first introduction, learning how to flip those and getting some nasty cuts, man. Cuts that made me jump out my socks. And yeah, and where technology is now, and the big improvement in how these Bali songs are compared to how it was back in the days, man, they're just gonna get better.
Yeah, it only seems like it's gone up from here, especially if it's compared to, ballad songs to me are kind of like a lifestyle. And in a way, with social media being how it is today, it can only really bring people together with their interest. And for something that I would say, kind of just stuck to one country that's branched out to the whole world, now that there's more eyes on this, I really do only see it growing. And it's definitely going to be great for the future for people to get involved in something with a skill that can
Mhm.
help them with a lot, not just developing a skill, but I mean learning something where your eyes aren't in front of a screen all the time, like learning something for yourself. It's like it's bettering yourself, and it teaches you discipline and poise. And yeah, I really see it like kind of like skateboarding in a way, but like it's just there's so much style and so much character and personality to be brought to it, as
History,
like yeah, it's
history too.
yeah,
Wow.
definitely, the
I
origin.
agree. And I was going to bring it. I think it's like skateboarding in a way as well. Actually, it's funny you say that. And we were talking about skateboarding earlier, but like you said, the style of it, it's kind of coming to fruition again, which is interesting too. And the fact that things are just so much more accessible now. You can get into it and start off, and as you continue to improve, you really do it for yourself at the end of the day. And that's what's cool about it. Like you said, you can practice. You're not in front of a screen, and as you continue to improve your flipping skills, it's rewarding and at the same time
Yeah,
fun and entertaining.
it
And
really
yeah.
is, man. It really is rewarding.
Yeah,
It's like
definitely.
beating a boss in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
um So I'm going to go ahead and actually cut it short. I believe that everything that we've talked about today in the underground bunker kind of went, I would say, a big success. We haven't got together and talked like this before, and I think that it went very great. What are your guys' any closing statements?
Well, I'm glad to be here. Okay, this is my first podcast ever, and surprisingly, I wasn't nervous or anything. It felt natural. And
Yeah.
glad to meet you, Florida man. Nice. Glad to meet you, man. Glad to meet glad to meet more people in the knife community who have an open mind. You know what I'm saying?
Likewise, man. Completely agree. I couldn't agree more, to be honest with you. And it's really interesting. Obviously, my first experience like this as well, and really wasn't nervous, either. And I've, of course, Brandon, watched your channel, and Behold the Black Wolf watched yours, and it's really cool to be able to connect and, like you said, just get to know other people in the community, and branch out and just hopefully share what we're all passionate about and enjoy.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close this off by also saying that although I may have, like, my channel may have gotten popular in some ways, I just want to say that, like, I'm a huge fan to both of you. Florida Man Knives, you really stood out to me with your, like, personality and character. And Behold a Black Wolf, I mean, I could relate to you so much, and you're actually like my 19th subscriber. So you've been there from very, very early on. And Florida Man Knives, you also were
Respect.
there pretty early too. Yeah, definitely respect. But
Respect.
yeah, I think that this went great, and this was the Underground Bunker podcast. And tune in for more episodes in the future. Bye, everyone.
Later.
Thanks.